Anna. Anna Iosko is in the Netherlands, and for 12 years she's been at the Arnhem Business School in the Netherlands as an English and business communication lecturer and student coach. And now she's the owner of English Mastery, Communicating with Presence. And I'm also very flattered and happy to say one of my past students and one of my present friends.
Absolutely,
and,
absolutely.
I think Evan and Donna are still here. I saw them here earlier. I would like to officially tell them Anna is one of our newest BESIG members. Yes?
Yes.
Good.
Totally.
Great. So, welcome aboard. And I appreciate you being here. We got the timer going.
Yes, we got the timer going.
So, take it away.
Here we go. Yes. Thanks a lot. No, Rob, first of all, thank you for setting the stage and for today and allowing me to be one of the actors, you know, in such a great lineup of speakers. I'm really delighted to be part of this play, to stay in Shakespeare's terms. And I quickly would like to introduce you to the key influences in my life. So that's my mother. I think you can tell. She's a very highly intelligent person, very loving human being. So thanks for that. And not only do I have to thank her for my life, for me being present here, but also for a huge number of people, ideas, and places she introduced in my life. And as you can see on the right, we both love singing. And we aim to keep it going in our families, so for future generations. Now, today, the concepts I am going to present today are really ideas, and they are merely scratching the surface of everything that it entails. And I would love to invite you to let your mind wander and wander, and hopefully get inspired or even fired up to integrate various disciplines in your teachings. Now, I am a huge fan of interdisciplinary approach, and I'm sure this was my mother who gave me a major push in that direction. So I was always surrounded by musicians and craftsmen, people of art, scientists, and talking of which, let me see, yes, here we go. In my early teen years, my mother met a brilliant scientist, a really one of the kind. Unfortunately, she died a couple of years ago, but she was the one to develop a model, an AID model, a hierarchical multi-level system where the world processes are shown in their relations to each other. And in her foreword, by the way, to her last manuscript, she said that her mathematics was based on her ancestors' tongue, language, Homer's Iliad, and Belarusian folk music. Now, in my university years, I worked with her for almost 1 year, trying to integrate languages and computer automation into her system. And what really stuck with me, and you can see there, is that in her theory, mathematics, languages, arts have this prominent, very deserving highest position in the hierarchy. Now, you know, mathematics and languages I understood, but very often I was puzzled with arts. And then I left Belarus for the Netherlands, and in 2006 I started working at Arnhem Business School. Now, and this is how I organically moved into teaching, into coaching and teaching business English. And luckily I discovered that I was good at that. Now, somewhere in 2010, my dear friend and colleague back then said, hey, we are looking for a soprano, and I heard you sing, fancy joining us? And this is what I did. And this is the result. An amazing experience staging Leo Delibes' Lakmé, and a couple of years later playing Papagena in Mozart's Magic Flute. Now, my mind started making connections, really. First, if you look at the whole production, you can see it as a project. You need to find your cast, finances, marketing, selling, and all that. Now, second, while learning my music, so my lines, I really experienced it as learning a new language. And I was blown away by the complexity of music composition and how it organically all matched and just came out so beautifully. And then the orchestra. I mean, take a conductor, a wonderful example of a business leader. Take musicians, an exemplary team. They have to listen to each other, they have to collaborate, they have to fade away or really take the lead if necessary. And the instruments, that was, to me, was the really magic part of it. The instruments of the orchestra, it's an epitome of multiculturalism. You know, take Belarusian cymbalins or Moroccan bells and everything that comes in, or Italian violin, all in the team, all working together, all enriching each other. Now, approximately the same period, I met this person. Again, my mother introduced, yet again, me to Mikhail Kazinik. And this is all, this is exactly the moment when it all exploded for me and also in my mind. And he gave a couple of ideas, and he talks about classical music and structures connected to poetry, prose, architecture, now you name it. And as I taught business communication, I'm still teaching, of course, my neurons made multiple connections again, and I could relate processes in business communication and classical music. So I see it as a, let's say, the whole developing of business as a creative process. And if you do it right, and if you apply musical structures, you can also create an organic, balanced, and extremely, let's say, a beautiful structure that is respectful of all its constituents. Now, I'll give you quickly, yes, 3 minutes, some examples. So sonata form has 3 stages. You can see, I see it as a project, you know, exposition, when ideas are presented, your goals, visions. Now, let me see, you name it. And this is, let's say, in a sonata form, this is also where the conflict creeps in. That most of the development stage, when you have like an explosion of creativity, your research, your testing, speculating, and doing everything, let's say, that is necessary to discover. And paradoxes are welcome there, and you can do marvelous things, and then moves naturally to the last stage, and that is recapitulation. Everything comes back, the themes come back, and they are together in the same tonality. This is the time to make conclusions and to take decisions. Ronde form, very quickly about this, you can see that in this musical form, for example, is very, I almost think about conversation, negotiation, or even lobbying, because A presents an idea, B says, aha, that's an argument, and A says, right, and changes it back to a sort of variation on his initial idea. Then C comes in, and A is influenced again. So you can see, like, A, for example, being a decision maker, and B, C, D, A as the lobbyist. Now, this is my favorite, and Einstein's as well. This is a mathematical perfection, and a process that explores one simple idea in a very complex form. So you can see, let's say 4 lines is the maximum. They all seem very independent. They can have different tones, different structures, But those vertical lines, they're immensely connected because they create chords. So I see it as a ultimate business conversation where people can have different ideas, they can have different opinions, they come from different cultures, have various personalities, but still are very willing to strike the chord and to agree on certain concepts. So that's the willingness of that. So I imagine if that is too much for you, I would just say introduce classical music and bits and pieces of that into your classrooms, because you can see on the upper head is what classical music does. It activates very particular parts of your brain that nothing else activates, and below you can see a musician playing music, so studying. So if you can have someone bring in their instruments and play, that would create fireworks and ignite the whole creative process. So yes, I have to round off, and I have to say these are all bits and pieces of ideas, and I'm rightfully restricted, but you know, it's a huge topic, and I do hope that you can use this wisdom of both classical music and everything in your classes. And the last slide is about everything that I had to remove from my presentation, which you can see this is all very much connected to arts and different disciplines. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anna. That was great. Did you
enjoy
your
it was my first EFL talk, but it was my first internet thing at all. And believe me, I had to leave out even 1/3 of what I thought I would be able to say. So yes, next time better.